Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving.
Our signs of transition, we know what's coming. It's just a matter of when and time. The poet Sylvia Plath called this the odd, uneven time. The best of summer is gone and the new fall not yet born. Today is officially the last day of summer. Enjoy the sunshine, everyone, this afternoon. And tomorrow begins a autumnal season. We have the heat pumps turned on in the parlor and the coffee room as a warming station, just to take the chill off this morning. And if you need to take breaks during service to refill your hot beverage or warm up a bit, please do. Prelude this morning is by Chris Thile. He appeared for years on Prairie Home Companion Show. Garrison Keillor took it over after he left. And the title of the prelude is Prelude, Scriabin. It is slightly less than 1 minute long. So for our moment of centering silence this morning, we're going to do a group centering. We've done this before, a group awe, an intonation, an energetic alignment, and also it might help us warm up a little bit on a chilly morning. So again, how this works, we'll use our singing bowl as our focus tone to match that tone as closely as you can. You don't have to get it perfectly. And to collect our voices using and to feel the breath coming in and released into sound on the tone. And we're going to use awe as our sound this morning. And we're going to stagger our breathing and keep the tone going. I'll keep striking the singing bowl several times until we can fill this space with some vibration, centering, and a blessing for this space this morning. An opening prayer. Are you guys ready? Jim is going to tell us for us this morning. I'd also like to point out we have Unitarian Universalist apples on the altar this morning, perfectly ripe from our UU apple tree by the meditation garden. So I encourage you after coffee hour, there's lots of apples this year. It's a good apple year. Please take some home. Chalice lighting reading comes from the UUA worship app. Symbol of light and knowledge, symbol of warmth and freedom. We light this chalice as a symbol of our faith. Here we gather to celebrate hope and the infinite possibilities of love. In times such as this, when there are setbacks and uncertainty, sometimes we may wonder if what we've accomplished in the past will make it into the future. There might be loss, there might be change, and if so, was all the effort worth it? For opening words this morning, we have a song by Zoe Mulford titled "Songs Stay Sung." She sings, "All we do may be undone, but love stays loved and songs stay sung. Love stays loved, songs stay sung."
There is an end to everything. The breath we take and the songs we sing, and the last note rings and dies away. But the song stays sung till the end of days, and all we do may be undone. But love stays loved and song stays sung. Love stays loved and song stays sung. And astronomers put their charts, the constellations of the heart, for lovers part and lovers pine. But the love stays loved till the end of time. And all we do may be undone, but love stays loved and song stays sung. Love stays loved and song stays sung. And every life is a brief bright spark that dies and seems to leave no mark. So we curse the dark and we mourn the flame, but the things it showed us still remain. And all we do may be undone, but love stays loved and song stays sung. Love
right there. This is number 108 in the grade book. My life flows on in endless song. And shall we stand as you are able? So our theme for this morning, the topic is introduction of our year-long theme, which this year is on covenant and transitions. So for our group reading, there's a section in a book of affirmations, covenants, and confessions. And we'll be using this throughout the year. And this morning we selected number 459. And we're going to read this in unison. It's written by William F. Schultz, who was the UUA president back in the 1990s. He was also the head of Amnesty International. And this is one of our most highly used expressions of covenant in our tradition. Let us say it together this morning. This is the mission of our faith, to teach the fragile art of hospitality, to reveal the critical mind and generous heart, to prove that adversity need not mean divisiveness, and to witness the law that we must hold the whole world in our hands. So this morning, we The Pishka is on the back table, a collection for local needs in our community and our congregation. Fofo, there's the organ fund jars there, and also the building fund jar. This morning, Matt is not here. Could I recruit a volunteer, the first hand I see, to circulate for plate this morning? I saw Christoph. He just beat you out, Jules.
That's okay.
And the selection this morning is by Keith Mansfield, who was a British composer back in the 1960s, in library music and TV show themes. And this morning's offertory is titled Morning Off Broadway. So before I start, I'd like to honor a good friend of mine who gifted me this walking stick several years ago. His name was Jim Matthews, who many of you knew. I'm seeing some heads nod. And he was on the sidewalk in front of the store on Court Street, sitting on a stool carving these wooden sticks. He saw me coming and reached into his barrel and pulled out this stick. He called it a Maine holy stick. And it's marked right on the handle. Maine holy, H-O-L-E-Y stick. And as you look closely, you will see that he drilled it. I'm not sure how many holes. At a service years ago, we had some of the children in a children's talk. During the service, count how many holes were on this stick. It is made out of hornbeam, which is oftentimes also called ironwood, a very strong and sturdy hardwood. It makes a durable and sturdy companion to accompany you on a hike. Last week, Dale talked about a shepherd and sheep. a New Testament metaphor about the life and leadership of spiritual community. She brought in a shepherd's staff as part of the presentation. So this week, I'm bringing this walking stick, the Maine holy stick, as an additional symbolic gesture to the leadership and participation of our religious organization. Each one of the holes in the stick represent each one of us as members of the group. In our case, with lay-led leadership services, combined with clergy, we have a shared role of leadership. We pass the stick, so to speak, one to another as ministers among many. This week I have the stick. Next week, Randy and Ira will have the stick. This morning, I would like to offer this holy stick gifted to me, to you, as a congregation of leaders, members, to use as you see beneficial in the years to come. May it bring a slight smile of remembrance each time it is used. I'm going to give this holy stick to our good moderator, Dale, to hold on to during the remainder of the service, and then figure out what to do with it. It's heavy and sturdy. Today's service is an introduction of a theme for the new church year, a two-part focus on covenant and transitions. The Unitarian Universalist movement doesn't place a great emphasis on too many theological sounding words or terminology, but covenant is one of them. Covenant is a biblical term found in the Old and New Testaments, and it has continued to be used and interpreted in various ways ever since. In our Unitarian Universalist tradition, covenant is our organizing and guiding concept that, at its best, informs everything we do, from how we describe who we are, how we relate to each other, right down to how we write our organizational bylaws and run a board meeting or a rummage sale. Covenant is congregational polity, as you remember, Dale, in your seminary classes. Covenant is shared values and shared expectations. Covenant is spiritual practice. Covenant has history-making implications as we look back to where we've been and look forward to where we are going next. And this is where transitions comes into play. Covenant is not static or a finished product where we can ever say, we've got it, or we've arrived. It is a continuing process of new ideas, adjustments, reparations, advancements, occasional setbacks, resurgences. It's a continual arriving, and all the while we are doing it together with the agreements and promises that we have made together, and keep working together the best that we can. So I'd like to take a minute and give you a quick background review of the themes we've covered the last couple of years. Perhaps you may remember a few of them. No. There almost seems to be a progression from one year to the next. I'm not sure how intentional that was, but it evolved into one theme to the next. After COVID, as we returned to in-person services, we selected the theme Belongingness, featuring the book Belonging, The Science of Creating Connection and Bridging Divides by Jeffrey L. Cohen. The next year, we expanded the belongingness range from our community itself, here at UU Houlton, to the global community and the cosmos, with our theme of earth care and issues related to the climate crisis. It also happened to be our total solar eclipse year that we tied into the theme. And our feature selection was Rebecca Solnit's book, Not Too Late. So we have our brought in a few of these copies. I already gave a belongingness book to Catherine in our congregation. So she has a hardcover edition of belongingness. This is not too late. Rebecca Solnick. Our most recent theme was exploring our UU shared values in the science of religion, and we used the UUA book of essays, Love at the Center, edited by Sophia Betancourt during our year-long study. And this year, we're going to be, again, continuing to use a lot of material in this book on the UU shared values, ties into covenant itself, and essays. You can't get too far away from our values. Love and covenant are all going to be very integrated and connected in a lot of different ways. This year we plan to focus on covenant itself, the embodiment of our UU shared values, and take our study even deeper. As this is my final year of ministry here at UU Houlton, now entering my 25th year, this is also a year of transitions as the congregation looks to the future, looking at new approaches and evaluating our mission and role as a religious organization in the historic town of Houlton. The book we're recommending this year is titled Unlocking the Power of Covenant. By the UUA. I also ordered the book Trusting Change, Finding Our Way Through Personal and Global Transformation, by UU minister and author Karen Harry. So both these books can be ordered online at UU bookstore, and we'll try to have copies of each in our Unitarian Society library in case you'd like to check them out during the year. We've been doing yearly themes for over 20 years now. We've actually studied covenant 2 other times. One was titled Back to the Basics, and one, The Covenant of Being. The UUA recommends that congregations do the work of re-exploring covenant every so often. You can't overdo it. There are always new people coming in. The people who have been here for a while can always use a review. And to the point, covenant is an active, ongoing experience of individual and congregation, and is a practice that is constantly being exercised. Today is simply an introduction to the theme. There's a lot to cover on the topic and many implications once we get on the way. Today is just a start. One thing that I'd like to note that is unique about our UU Houlton approach to covenant is how we have introduced and linked the 5 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz as an important part of our covenant practice. And we'll be hearing more about that as we go along during the year. And the second thing I'd like to note is the value of a group having a shared vocabulary. A shared vocabulary helps to build group culture where certain words have shared recognition and usage, and covenant is one such word as part of our study this year. In our bulletin, you'll see an introduction from Unlocking the Power of Covenant is a definition of covenant, and Joyce is going to come down and read that for us. And we're going to find many definitions and expressions and approaches to covenant. And this is one that, again, is from my book.
A covenant is a mutual sacred promise between individuals and groups to stay in relationship. Goodness. I guess it wants me to be short today. Wow, that scared me. Let's see. A covenant is a mutual sacred promise between individuals and groups to stay in relationship, care about each other, work together in good faith. In the Unitarian Universalist tradition, we seek to raise the we above the I, the community above the individual. As seekers, we willingly choose to love each other and stay in relationship over and over again and again. In this way, although we may break promises by learning into the transformational power of our faith, we can begin again in the covenant of love.
So just below that, you'll see several traditional expressions of covenant. One being the Mayflower Covenant in 1606 and the Salem Covenant in 1629. And we've used the Salem Covenant here at the Unitarian Church. You'll find that in our archives. And just to notice the different wording in the tradition as it evolves and changes over time, from century to century. And this year, our conversation will be involved in looking at what is a contemporary expression of covenant and defining that as for ourselves within our group in the larger context of the UUA tradition, and to fine-tune and explore covenant for ourselves. The Francis David quote is a famous one on the left-hand side of the page by the order of service of, "We need not think alike to love alike." And a distinct feature of congregational and Unitarian identity that defines us from other Christian churches is that we are a covenant-based religious community rather than a creedal-based religious community. The agreements we make regarding how we want to conduct ourselves with each other is the organizing principle of a covenant. Not that we all believe in the same way. What we believe is important, but how we believe it is more important. And this is covenant. While our theologies and our ideas about God may change or evolve over time, covenant, or how we treat each other, does not. We try to walk in love as best as we can. And this is a recurring phrase that shows up in different rephrasings of covenant agreements. At the in-gathering a few weeks ago, we had this framed print, Old Unitarian Meeting House, gives a very brief history, and then it lists the ministers starting our first called minister in 1839, William Whitwell. And we've been doing a few stories in the support page that Bill White wrote during our bicentennial. And the first one we had in the support page was on William Whitwell himself. But what I've noticed, there are large, oftentimes gaps from 5 to 10 or 12 years in between called or settled ministers at Houlton Unitarian Church. Part of that being, the job call process itself, the difficulty of hiring to a settlement this far north beyond Bangor has always been a tough challenge to find the right fit for someone coming to Houlton. But in these gaps, early on, Houlton congregation was essentially a lay-led organization in its early years, led by a strong deacon and congregational leaders. In our case, we were connected to professional clergy in New Salem. Reverend Alpheus Harding consulted back and forth to the leadership corps in Houlton. And even after the Unitarian Society was established in 1835, there were these long gaps without a settled minister. The board of directors served as congregational leadership, along with guest speakers and guest ministers would fill in the pulpit. I'd like to share two metaphors this morning related to covenant. The first is on the front of the bulletin, a picture of our Candles of Joys and Concern, where one Sunday after the service, we noticed an interesting arrangement and pulled it out of the sand and took a few photographs of this art-like creation. After every service, the configuration is a little different. I took a series of photographs this Sunday that we will use during the year. And Pride Month this year, we added the colored candles and gave, again, different design of arrangement of colors, and we took photographs of that as well. In one case, two candles were connected together by this bridge or strand of wax, two separate candles, and we pulled them out. We took some photographs, series of photographs of 8 of these. Again, connected by the top where the wax was pulled and connected them all together. It was amazing visual. And I see this as a fitting metaphor of spiritual community, of this relatedness, as we shine our conscious awareness and our personality and our sense of humor into this community. It's the shared heat and energy of that together in a place, in a group, with an organization, is a creative, dynamic process. This is just one metaphor to work with this year. And during in-gathering, I referred to the stones as a metaphor of spiritual community, of how the stones lay on top of each other or are related to each other. And when I walk into the office, oftentimes I'll find this stone just sitting on the desk. It's rolled off. Whatever happens since I was there last, and I'll just carefully put it back and let it arrange. Or I'll arrange it a little differently. Or something like this is very tricky to keep balanced on the windowsill in my office. And it's, again, a metaphor of just relationships in covenant or people working together. And I found a poem this week that I had written years ago for the in-gathering, and I would like to read that this morning. It's a meditation on spiritual community called Stones. As these stones sit on top of and beside each other, nothing holds them together but the invisible pull of physics. It is gravity and balance, one stone related to the other. In the same way, we are here in the presence of the unseen that I sense in you, difficult to say, but deeply felt. It may get knocked over, but it can be restacked again and again. The resiliency of the unseen mystery sitting on mystery. And a little more about stones. A teaching story from Jack Cornfield's book, After the Ecstasy, the Laundry. A man visited a huge stone yard in Europe where workmen continued to add to the towers of a nearby building, as they had for centuries and centuries. He asked one workman what he was doing, and he replied wearily, "My job is to square off the stones and move." When he asked a second fellow, "What are you doing?" he replied, "I am a stone cutter working so I can care for my wife and children and feed my family." A third man, performing the identical labor, looked up and joyfully answered, "I am building a great cathedral." when we can see that the earth is our cathedral, our eyes open to a secret happiness in all that we do. Each of the stonecutters was contributing to a great work. The only difference was that one knew this was so. Thinking of the Psalms Stayed song that we listened to earlier in the service, we wonder about long-term and lasting effects that you may or may not see. But in the end, there are no wasted efforts in this cause that people are building individually or as a group. The process and practice of covenant is a contribution to a great work for oneself, for one's spiritual community, and the betterment of all, now and well into the future. As I'm winding down for today, I'd like to share, again, a few words from several years ago when I wrote a brief history of First Church as the Unitarian Church was celebrating its 100-year centennial of its current church building, this one that we're in. And this service happened in 2003. This is the third structure of Unitarian Church of Houlton, having had bad luck, lightning strikes, and fires. So these are my personal comments that I concluded my message with on that day of the centennial, which I think applies to this day as well, related to covenant. And each of us have our own stories that are full of humor and sorrow, along with the sweat of hard work and the heroic financial support that keeps this place going. This is the kind of organization that I want to be a part of. I need it to keep connected to a sense of history and place. I need it to stay connected to a community of individuals who support and stimulate my inquiry into religion, self, and social involvement. I need it to play a role in my life of challenges, celebrations, of grief or loss. These are the times that we need each other and the times that we need our institutions. My prayer is that when we need these things, they are here. And I feel that they will be here, and we will not be disappointed. And we will not be alone if we have vested our energies in the right places. This has been a place for people to do that, and they have done that for almost as long now as Houlton itself has been a place for people to live out their aspirations. May those who follow us be able to say the same 100 years from now. And in closing, a short poem by Wendell Berry from his book titled Allegiance. I know that I have life only insofar as I have love. I have no love except it come from thee, O source of life. Help me, please, to carry this candle against the wind. And now, as we extinguish this chalice, we carry with us the promise of tomorrow, the inspiration of elevated ideas, and the determination to pursue that which is true. We leave this place until we return once again. May you walk the ways of peace. Amen.
We want to thank everybody for tuning in today. If you'd like to show your support, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel if you're not already subscribed, and help us out by sharing this message by clicking the share button. If you'd like to make a monetary donation to you, Church Houlton, there is a link to our online donations in the video description down below. And again, thank you so much and have a blessed day.